Howdy. How do? Now, I know some of you Cowboy fans out there a little bit shaky this morning. You're trying to act like you're all right. Got a 7-3 record, still in first place in the NFC least, trying to stick out your chest and act like you're comfortable. But I know you. I know you're good. You're a little bit nervous out there because a key game showed up in the NFL this week, and you boys weren't ready. Now, I know my man Michael Irvin struggling right now. He laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing. I didn't ask you. You hush your mouth. You hush your mouth while I'm talking right now. You hush your mouth. Because Kevin Hart gave it to you yesterday morning, I'm going to give it to you this morning. But before I do, I got a little few words of wisdom to throw in the direction of the Dallas Cowboy fans out there and the Dallas Cowboy lovers all over the world. Remember, my buddy Kenny Rogers once said this. You got to know when to hold the please. Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. Got to count that money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough to count when the deal is done.
When the deal is done. The dealing's not done now.
First takes it half.
The dealing is not done.
Let's go.
Come on, man. The dealing.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to First Take. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. There is so much to unpack. We don't even know where to begin, Southern Steve. Hello, the Hall of Famer, the playmaker, Michael Irvin. I'm Molly Cameron. I also want to mention there was blood, brawl, ejections by LeBron James in Detroit. We'll get into all that in just a bit.
I want to mention something before we start off the show. I want to say, you looking mighty nice this morning, Molly Wood. I want to say that. I don't know whether it's the pajamas or the lingerie. Right now, I think something a little different there, but it looks very, very nice, Molly. It looks very, very nice. Huh?
This is fall. It's Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
It's a plaid long dress
It looks
for fall.
nice. I just don't know what it is, but it looks nice.
Michael, I like this look.
Well, thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
He's trying to be a little
There's nothing to like now.
He doesn't want to be loud today.
Well, we're going to jump into this.
Let's go there.
Okay,
so KC is making us believers again, knocking off Dallas, getting hot at just the right time. Winners of 4 straight. Major props to this defense who held the Cowboys' high-powered offense to just 3 field goals. And KC's D is now top 5 in opponents' QBR, points per game, and rush yards allowed. Dak Prescott throwing 2 picks Sunday, and Mahomes 1 pick. Both quarterbacks had no TDs. Let's hear from them post-game.
I'm excited about it because we're still not playing our best football, and we're sitting here 7-4, at least a half game up on the AFC West. And you go into the bye week knowing you're going to play a lot of divisional opponents coming up. So everything's right in front of us.
I'm pissed when I don't play well, or the team doesn't play well, or the offense doesn't play well for the fact of tonight in general. But especially when you have a great opportunity to come out and play against a team that's been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years and really prove it to ourselves, prove it to one another what we're capable of.
All right, so Dallas has now lost 2 of their last 3.
Right.
Playmaker, I wasn't expecting this. Do you think the moment was too big for the Cowboys?
Absolutely. The moment was too big for the Cowboys as presently constructed. Now, let's remember, the Cowboys are missing a whole lot of key players on this football team.
Like who?
Oh, you mean like Tyron Smith? The tackle, like Amari Cooper, like Randy Gregory, DeMarcus, all of those star players that are very, very important players to the Cowboys were not on the football field. So it's presently constructed. Yes, that was too much. What the Dallas Cowboys got to see yesterday was they looked into the depths of a champion's soul, because that's what Kansas City was at. This was like, we have to show right now whatever champion we have left in us has to show up. And they showed up. And the Cowboys saw something they never saw before. They saw the depths of their soul, and they wilted in that moment as presently constructed. Now, that offensive line, you know, we can sit here, we can talk about Dak didn't throw a touchdown, or Patrick Mahomes, neither quarterback threw a touchdown, Dak didn't throw a touchdown. That offensive line didn't give them time to throw anything. To do anything, because the Chiefs, in that noise, that noise, that noise was the MVP of the game. And it rattled the Dallas Cowboys to the core, which is crazy. I know. And that's why I'm telling you, they were not prepared for that moment. That's why they looked like they looked. There's no doubt in it. No doubt. Hold on. You got to understand that noise, man.
Let me speak. Hold on. Did I just hear you say?
I gave people credit.
Time out. Did I just hear you say that the noise was the MVP?
Yeah.
Not the player.
They did a great job.
Not the player, Molly. Not somebody in the Kansas City Chiefs. Not Jones, who had 3.5 sacks. I mean, not playing like a monster. Not him. Oh, no. It was the noise. The noise was the MVP.
I'm giving you some realities of what happened in the game. As a defensive line, to get a jump on the offensive line like that.
You're hilarious.
I'm giving you the reality of what happened in that game.
Okay.
Now. Cowboys couldn't run the ball. The Cowboys couldn't run the ball.
No, they could or could not?
They could not run the ball.
They could not run the ball. Yeah, because I was counting 82 yards rushing.
Right. No, they could not run the ball. They couldn't do anything offensively, anything. And I'm going to say this too, man, because, I've already put my foot in this early in the offseason. I am I'm so hot with Amari Cooper. I don't care what y'all say. I'm so hot with. I love Amari Cooper. I love him, man. He plays hard. In the last couple of years, he's been playing even when he's hurt. But I was so hot when I found out, he's going to miss this game.
Yeah.
He's going to miss Thursday. All because he's not vaccinated.
That's right.
And we need him. I don't want to hear this noise about, the next man step up. Cedric Wilson made $2 million. Noah Brown makes him $1 million. That's 2 and 1. Amari Cooper makes $21 million, and we needed him on the field yesterday, and he was not. The Dallas Cowboys they look bad, and I was so upset with it yesterday because they were not prepared for that situation that they ran into. Right. They looked like like a team that wasn't prepared to play.
Right. So, Michael Irvin, playmaker, Molly Q. Again, it's good to see you. How many times do I have to tell y'all? Just wait. Just be patient. It's coming. So let's count the ways. So we listen. We got the injuries. DeMarcus Lawrence injured. Randy Gregory, legitimate knee injury. Tyron Smith, legitimate ankle injury and stuff like that. We get it. La'el Collins was suspended 5 games early in the season. Why? Because he's trying to bribe a test. He's trying to bribe one of the people to give drug tests and stuff like that. I mean, you can't make this up. Those were the allegations. You understand what I'm saying? That he was trying to. What I'm trying to listen to what I'm saying. It has everything to do with it because you just pointed out Amari Cooper. What is Amari Cooper doing? We got the NFL. My brother, Michael Irvin, the playmaker, 3-time Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer. Incredible contributor to First Take. NFL Network can't leave that out.
Well dressed.
You know what I'm saying? We said, I've repeatedly tried to tell this brother, there's always something that gets in the way. This man was on the airwaves beginning of the season. It ain't about left wing. It ain't about right wing. It's about the ring. That's what he said. When all of these people were talking about vaccinated, non-vaccinated, you Amari Cooper. You got the Kansas City Chiefs coming up. Not only do you end up subjecting yourself to stuff because you weren't vaccinated, even though a vaccine doesn't guarantee that you ain't going to get COVID, the bottom line is it drastically diminishes the possibility.
Whatever it is,
that's right.
I want that possibility.
So that's what they want, right? So you do that, and the week that you are ineligible to play, or you're incapable of playing because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, and when you win against the Giants? When you win against Philadelphia Eagles, before they got it rolling? When you win against teams like that? When you win against Sam Darnold to Carolina? Oh, no. It's when you go against Patrick Mahomes. Suddenly, you ain't ready. What I'm saying to you is this. We look at the Cowboys. Obviously, you had catching passes. CeeDee Lamb got the concussion. Yeah. But even though that was an interception that Dak Prescott threw on the play, that CeeDee Lamb got the concussion, we understand all of that. All I'm trying to say to you is this. It's receivers dropping passes. It's receivers that are not available. Right. It's dudes getting suspended. It's dudes subjecting themselves to to COVID potentially. It's one thing after another. I keep telling y'all, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I keep telling y'all, just wait. Be patient.
Michael, can I just say one thing to you? Because we're going to have much more on this throughout the show. But I feel like ye of little faith right now.
Who?
Me.
And the Cowboys?
Yes, because I was with you, and I felt like they could be at SoFi, and I'm starting to get really nervous now. It was one thing, the Broncos, but now this.
Hold it.
Right.
Hold it. What do you mean nervous?
Yes, right.
Hold on. You sound. Hold on, Molly. I'm deflecting here. I'm making a left turn. You sound like you want them at SoFi. That's what it just sounded like to me.
I absolutely would love to see them at SoFi.
Right.
Because it would ruin your life.
Right. What's wrong with that?
It's only because of you. I'm a New York Giants fan. Because it would destroy you.
I'm so hurt right now.
It would be the most painful week of his life.
Having the talent to get there and understanding going through the process to get there are two different things. And this is what they're learning right now. They have the talent to get there, but going through the process is another thing. Michael. And you got to want it as bad as all the other people.
Time out. Before we move on, Michael Irvin, is this the first time in 26 years that the Dallas Cowboys have had the talent to make noise? No. The
answer to that is talking about no 26 years, though. No, what I'm talking about right here, right now.
No, what I'm trying to say is that what you just said about how they had the talent, there's several years I could have pointed to that they had the talent, but but the process that they have to go through, the discipline that they have to exercise, the commitment that they have to make is not there, and you know it.
There are plenty of teams with the talent. There's plenty of teams. There's some teams. And the Cowboys have the talent. But they have to understand the process.
They don't.
And they don't understand the process.
They don't.
Not fully. Not fully.
And guess what?
And they saw another level of the process yesterday.
And you know what, Michael? Guess what? We're going to have to deal with this. Insufferable for the next 2 hours.
Just for the next couple of days.
Why? Because they beat New Orleans Thursday?
No, because they're playing Thursday. Kirk Cousins in the Vikes. Let's move on, gentlemen. Another game I want to get to. Pulled off the upset against that bad man. Did you hear me, Stephen A? Kirk Cousins, the Vikes pulled off an upset against that bad man.
You today.
In the NFC North rivals first. You never listen to me. What else is new? Kirk Cousins teeing up the walk-off field goal by Greg Joseph en route to a 34-31 victory. The Vikings improved to 5-5, and the Packers fall to 8-3. Rodgers is hoping to get that toe some rest.
I'm just going to have to get through the bye and hope I can get some healing over the bye week. Probably the same schedule next week. Was in a lot of pain, went in at halftime early to get it checked out. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very painful. Got stepped on in the first half, and that kind of activated all the symptoms I was having. It's going to be another painful week next week, and then hopefully start to feel a little better in the bye.
They say Sunday's fun day. It is. No, it's not at all.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for brightening the mood. Feeling a little downtrodden here on set right now. Did the Vikings win tell you more about Minnesota or Green Bay, Mr. Smith?
It told me more about the Green Bay. I'm not satisfied with what I'm seeing from their defense. The fact of the matter is, when Minnesota needed to move the ball, that's what they did. When they were we know what Aaron Rodgers is capable of, particularly when he has his weapons. Obviously, you didn't have Aaron Jones yesterday. He'll be back in a couple of weeks, according to the reports. This kid, Dillon, can play, but the combination of the two makes for a dynamic duo because they can really run the ball effectively. The combination of Adams, Scantling, obviously Lazard when he comes back, along with Randall Cobb. You've got enough pieces there in your passing game to really make noise when it's Aaron Rodgers that's throwing you the football. What this is going to come down to is what your defense can do. Can your defense answer the call? And we have to take into account, I get sick and tired of people just looking at the team and not looking at the competition. We have the Rams in the NFC. We have the Arizona Cardinals in the NFC. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC. And all joking aside, we have the Cowboys in the NFC. These are teams that, and on any given Sunday, are capable of putting up big numbers and big-time points. If you're the Green Bay Packers, who, by the way, looked pretty decent defensively up until yesterday, you got to roll up in there in Minnesota yesterday against Kirk Cousins and Thielen and those boys. You got to answer the call, period. Aaron Rodgers had his, his back was against the wall. This brother connects with Scantling. You understand, for that touchdown. They tied the score and what have you, and you couldn't stop Minnesota. You couldn't stop Kirk Cousins, making Ryan Clark nauseate us all, looking like a genius for a week, okay? Because he picked Minnesota. This is the kind of stuff that when you think about a team and the kind of things and the elements that will get in their way from capturing the championship, it's moments like this that you defer back to because you needed a stop and you couldn't get it.
For me, it was the Vikings. All right, man, listen, for the Vikings all the way. Now, when we look at the Vikings, we say, wow. The one thing that always kept me back from the Vikings was Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins right now at 21 TDs and just 2 interceptions. Just 2 interceptions. Even yesterday, I was sitting there waiting. Okay, Kirk, don't do it. And there were opportunities. But they dropped those interceptions. When you look at the Vikings and you think about those 5 losses that they had, they were all against
19 points.
Playoff teams.
Yeah.
And they were tight games against teams that we thought had a chance to get playoffs. Cincinnati, Arizona, Cleveland, Dallas, and Baltimore. Tight games. They had only won against teams that were no good, basically Seattle and teams like that. But these last 2 wins, the Chargers and the Packers, that brings them across the water for me. That brings it across the water. That tells me that this team has a possibility of doing something. And what they do, oh my God, with that run game, because Devin Cook is a great run game, and the ability with those 2 wide receivers they have, Justin Jefferson is off the chain at the way he's playing football in just his 2nd year right now, one of the best wide receivers in the game. For me, this game was all about the Vikings saying, count us in that playoff race. Right. Put us in there. I know we lost to all those supposed to be playoff teams, but count us in there now because we are back.
You're a smart man. You're a smart man.
Appreciate that.
It's about Minnesota. You know, because going into that game, we're talking about those 5 losses, they were combined 19 points.
Right.
Minnesota is quietly a very dangerous football team, but they had to win one of those close games versus a good football team. And I don't think it's so much about the Packers because that's the best wide receiver duo in football. Thielen and Justin Jefferson are the best duo in football. Green Bay ain't going to see teams like that consistently. They're not going to see 2 guys that can route run your face off, that can get open versus any coverage, that could win versus any type of leverage. They're getting used the right way. That's why Minnesota, for me, I thought, like I said last week, like sneaky, dangerous team. Their defense is pretty good. They just had to figure out a way to close football games. Kirk Cousins for 3 years now has played good football. We just like to hate on Kirk because in primetime games or in a huge game, sometimes he slips up and doesn't perform. But as far as a football team that's going to be dangerous down the stretch here and a football team that can get into the playoffs because of those 2 wide receivers, that was what Minnesota for me. Now, Green Bay's defense had been so good this year, playing against coverage or focusing on coverage and not getting the run.
Out top quarterbacks.
Right.
Dan, you trust Kirk Cousins down
Murray
the
Wilson.
stretch?
I do. I really do because the receivers, I mean, you know more about receiver than I do. I'm telling you, these 2 receivers are the best duo in football. Not that Kirk isn't really good, but playing quarterback for Minnesota is somewhat easier, I want to say, because those receivers are so good.
But those routes, those routes that they were drawing up, and leverage routes, those guys, you can't cover those. You can't cover.
Tell me. You guys know your football. I appreciate that. This First Take. You don't get to come on First Take and wave pom-poms and lie to the American public. Here's the reality of the situation. You, first of all, you are about moments. I've been watching you talk too many times. You don't give a damn about these numbers if you can't show up when it really, really counts. Period. Kirk Cousins hasn't shown that he shows up when it really, really counts. Period. I'm talking about when, come on now.
Yesterday was a moment, though.
Yesterday was fine.
Game-winning drive against Rodgers?
Yesterday was a moment. I give it to him. But there have been too many occasions when that hasn't been the case. That's number 1. Number 2, we going to forget the fumble. We going to forget the 2 interceptions that Savage dropped that were in the palm of his hands, and he dropped that. We going to forget the interception that was called back. Let's stop that nonsense. The fact of the matter is he should have gotten intercepted twice. Actually, 3 times yesterday. One was called back. The other 2 was dropped.
Roughing the passer,
I'm just saying, if we're looking at, we didn't watch the game, because I watched the game. If we didn't watch the game, and I know y'all did, because y'all watch it far more better than I do. I'm watching it, but y'all are dissecting it, so I defer to y'all. But what I'm saying, and I'm challenging y'all on this because I know about y'all football brilliance. I watch you. You understand what I'm saying? I watch, listen, and learn from people who know. And I'm telling you, Y'all are both inconsistent with what you're saying. Darnell Savage had 2 interceptions. He dropped it. A interception was called back.
I know.
You would always pick that up. You ain't going to just look at the end of the game and say, well, Kirk Cousins played a great game. Well, you would pick apart those mistakes in a heartbeat. You would not hesitate to call out somebody that doesn't show up in big moments. So let's start with this love affair.
But we got to take the results, Stephen A. I understand the possibilities. He could have intercepted this. The results are what they are. And he has won these last 2 games against teams.
The question wasn't, do you trust Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, but he asked you that.
No, but
he asked you that.
Molly asked. Yes. Molly asked me, do I trust him?
And you said yes.
Yeah, I do.
You trust Kirk Cousins? Trust?
Yes. To do what, though, Stephen A.? To win a game, to win
playoff games.
Come on, man.
In this system,
you think Molly was asking?
I think I trust.
You know she wasn't asking you about a game.
I trust those receivers.
Playoffs,
I trust those receivers.
That's a good answer. In that system,
he said, "I trust the receivers." He's saying the receivers cover a multitude of sins.
Yes, those guys are. It's the best duo in the NFL.
Just because they have the best stand-up.
Time out. When he had Thielen and Diggs. Excuse me, I mean...
This duo's better.
Okay.
With Dalvin Cook, this duo is better.
And they're not asking...
I understand that.
Last word here,
They're not asking him to throw the ball 1,000,000 times right now. They're using the run game and then just craftingly, I mean, just in a great way, using it, man. Bringing emotions over, stacking those receivers, and giving them option routes. You can't win as a defense. You cannot win. And you're asking Kirk, just dump that ball right here and put it in the athlete's hands. Don't try to hold on to it and make too much happen.
And then y'all
That's how you make it.
y'all got the Vikings going to the NFC Championship game?
No, nobody said that yet. Anybody said that.
You got the Packers going to the NFC title game?
I think so.
Okay. Can I go to this next one? Because this was exciting, too. So the Colts went into Buffalo and manhandled
the
Bills 41-15. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, a man amongst boys, rushing for 185 yards, 4 TDs on the ground, 1 through the air. Indy scoring 21 points off Buffalo's turnovers. The Bills dropped to 6-4. And the New England Patriots leapfrog Buffalo for first place in the AFC East for the first time this season at 7-4. Dan, is the AFC headline the Bills collapsing or the Patriots on the rise?
Patriots are on the rise, absolutely. I think the Bills, I'm a little bit concerned about them, but the Patriots being on the rise, the way they play defense, the way that they physically can run the football, Josh McDaniels knows exactly how to use that football team. My concern about Buffalo is two-parted. Number one, physically, when teams decide to play a physical brand of football, they don't match up on both sides of the line of scrimmage that way, specifically on their offense. My second thing is this, and you know this. One of the things that defenses always try to do to offenses is make you one-dimensional. The Bills willingly do it to themselves, and that's concerning to me. The Bills just going to go, we're going to play drop-back, throw football game. When you do that, a defensive lineman, they don't worry about the run game. They strictly think pass rush. They know where the quarterback's going to be because it's not a big play-action pass game. And as long as you keep 17 in the pocket, you can get after him a little bit if you have got a good pass rush. The lack of willingness to be a multi-dimensioned offense is an issue for the Buffalo Bills. It makes me concerned. I think if and when they do that, they're the best team in the AFC. But we're like 2021 football is 2000 football, the year. We are back in time. This is not 2019 Wild Wild West football in the NFL anymore. It happened quickly. You do have to play old school. You have to be able to run the football. You have to be completion driven. You have to own the football and go on drives. Because of the styles defenses are playing. New England can. Right now, Buffalo cannot.
Oh, my God. I'm really, really trying to be patient. I really, really am. The Patriots, with the greatness of Bill Belichick, and about 9 different dudes that have returned that refused to play last season because of COVID. That's really the story about the New England Patriots, how opportunistic and gifted and experienced and seasoned is along with their chemistry that they're playing together. Van Noy is no longer in Miami. He's back with New England, for example. You've got Heisman. You got the pieces that are there in place. We know what they can do defensively, and obviously you run the football, and you got a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes. A national champion as a rookie, but he's a national champion. We get all of that. The real story here, guys, is the Buffalo Bills. Now, first of all, they got shellacked yesterday because they couldn't stop the run.
Right.
Period. Jonathan Taylor. First of all, listen, coming out of Wisconsin, this brother, brother was big time.
I think he's the MVP right now.
This brother was big time. No question about it. He's a candidate in my eyes. But this brother was big time. Jonathan Taylor's the real deal. We get all that. But basically, the Buffalo Bills took a hiccup defensively because they couldn't stop the run. They're number 2 defensively overall. They're number 1 in yards allowed. They're number 2 against the pass. They're top 10 against the rush. Their defense is legit. The problem with this team is their offense. You scored 6 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars 2 weeks ago. And now here you are. And you got a quarterback who all of us are very fond of in Josh Allen. 6 years, $258 million. And you get your butt kicked. What the hell is going on? I mean, you got that Stephon Diggs, Mr. 127 receptions last year. You got a running game and say, what the hell is going on? I thought we liked their coach. Okay, what's up with him? Oh, you know that the New England Patriots have owned you. I got my show, Stephen A's World, on ESPN Plus. I had a dude email me. Had a fine girlfriend in the back. Fine girlfriend in the background. You understand me? Gorgeous. What happened? Why am I bringing that up? He literally sent me a text. Listen, it's relevant. I got a story to tell. This brother sends an email in, one of those videos in, because he want to marry her. But he a Buffalo Bills fan, and she a New England Patriot fan. You understand? Bills Mafia. He literally is talking about, with his suspect-looking self and her, and she gorgeous, and he like, I don't know if I can be with her because she a Patriot fan. This is what Bills Mafia tells the world. We hear the Patriots' footsteps. They've dominated us for 2 decades because of Tom Brady. And finally, you get to the AFC Championship game. Finally, you're relevant. Finally, you got a quarterback, and you wet in the bed like this. The New England Patriots, with a rookie quarterback, is in first place over your $258 million quarterback. That is unacceptable. Don't come to me with no Patriots, the story. They ain't the damn story right now. It's the collapse of the Buffalo Bills, who you just said in the sport of football, this ain't tennis, it ain't golf, hell, it ain't even basketball. This is football. And you telling me their problem is physicality? What the hell you doing playing football for?
Some teams
you got to be crazy. Don't give me a nonsense about the Patriots.
That's why I tell you, if Green Bay can get that physicality, they'll build a different team, because that physicality is a substance in the NFL. But yesterday was about the New England Patriots, period. And whoa. Let's not just talk about this season. Because, Stephen A., as much as you go into yesteryear and yesterday and history all the time, we need to go into this history. When it comes time, you even said it, the Buffalo Bills, man, Tom Brady. You didn't even mention Bill Belichick. And last year, all we had to deal with, when you just said the Buffalo Bills had to worry about Tom Brady. I was waiting on you to say they were about Bill Belichick, too, because Tom Brady is now in Tampa, right? And now Bill Belichick is trying to tell the world, he's showing the world, y'all cut me off. Y'all thought I was done. Y'all were talking about Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was the reason. You see right here, this is me and Bill talking right here. This is me and my friend. I said, friend, let me tell you what
this is better than saying Tim Tebow's.
That's what I said, friend, let me tell you what we gonna do. I'm gonna get Stephen A. They won't give you your credit. You've been doing a great job. You put this thing back on the map right now.
You're right.
Question real quick, because we got to go.
What's that?
Are you saying that Bill Belichick said we counted him out?
Everybody, no, I'm saying everybody gave all the credit to Tom Brady
all right.
for what that dynasty has been the last 20 years. And what he's doing now is showing you I'm still the man.
Bill Belichick, for the first time, sounds ignorant. Put me on the camera. He sounds ignorant. No one did that. We all recognize. We all recognize.
Tom Brady.
No.
We were saying it was all about Tom Tom Brady. Was it Belichick or Brady?
That's all we
People
been
were
doing.
saying it was Brady.
No, nobody forgot. The man had 2 Super Bowl rings as a defensive coordinator before arriving in New England. Nobody forgot that his 6-time champion and obviously as the head coach, Tom Brady didn't play defense. Tom Brady wasn't in charge of special teams. Tom Brady didn't oversee the organization. We gave Tom Brady credit, and we said he's just as responsible as Bill Belichick. But nobody said, Bill Belichick doesn't deserve.
Every show I watched,
Yeah.
the question was,
you flying everywhere.
You know, I text you. Every show, the question was, who was the architect of that dynasty? Tom Brady or Bill Belichick? And when Tom Brady got his ring, everybody said this proved that Tom was. Bill said
people were saying Bill was never going to win a ring again.
Right.
That was the conversation.
More importantly for Molly, because I know the segment has to end. 5 weeks ago, I told you the Patriots were going to the playoffs, and you left.
Oh, wait, hold on. I want to give you your flowers. You also said the Colts, too. About a month ago, you said the Colts. No, he said the Colts and the Patriots are going to be in the playoffs, and we kind of laughed about it. You are right, and you deserve props on that. Wait, one second.
Yes.
So what happened with the story? Is he going to propose to her or not?
Is he going to ask her?
The dude came to his senses.
Is he a 6 on the number ranking?
Listen, he said, listen, he corrected his ways, and he was smart, because I told him, I said, yo, my brother, Tom Brady ain't going to keep you happy at night.
Okay. All right, let's go to break.
And he listened.
Okay, let's
Dr. Smith in the house.
I'm mad.
The love
you know what, America? I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Now get on out of here.
When we come back, LeBron got ejected for delivering an
Oh, now LeBron and Isaiah Stewart get into a little pushing, shoving match, and Stewart is mad.
Everyone in the league knows Bron not a dirty guy.
Man, Stewart's hard to hold back. And wow, they can't hold him back.
I know nobody on our team was having it.
LeBron's getting into it.
He's got a big cut over his eye like a boxer.
He sure does. He wants a piece of LeBron.
He's going to get suspended for this.
He's uncalled for.
Detroit versus everybody. LeBron James struck the Pistons' Isaiah Stewart in the face while jostling for a rebound in the third quarter of the 121-116 win. The hit led to a stoppage in action with blood coming down his face. You can see it there. Had to be held back multiple times by Detroit personnel as he tried to confront James. Both LeBron and Stewart were ejected. LeBron did not talk to reporters after the game. His second ejection in 19 years. AD had Bron's back.
Everyone in the league knows Bron not a dirty guy. I nearly hit him. As soon as he did it, he looked back at him and told him, oh, my bad, I didn't try to do it. I don't know what he was trying to do. But I know nobody on our team, 1 through 15, was having it. You know, we're going to protect our brother. I've never, in 10 years, seen a player try to call for. You know, you got cut above your eye, accidental, like, you know, it wasn't on purpose. And you know, we wasn't going to allow him to keep charging our brother like that.
Want to be in a Fox with AD. Jay Will's in the building.
Before we do anything, he was doing radio.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's why he's not suited down.
I got the call.
So.
Okay.
You don't have to
I like this.
No, I got you.
This is getting me ready for my next thing with you.
No, you have to put your arms
it's like a cape.
That's all.
It's like a cape. Okay. I'll take the cape. I appreciate that.
That's right.
You know, I got the bat signal late in the radio show.
You
know, so
he's unbelievable.
We're going to do that.
He's unbelievable.
That's right.
This is how it feels.
There we go.
Money.
There we go.
There we go.
I like it.
There we go.
Thank you, brother.
Stephen A., do you think LeBron should be suspended?
Yeah, he's got to be suspended because I totally agree with Anthony Davis from the standpoint that, you know, he's not known. He doesn't have a reputation as a dirty player. That's not who LeBron James is. But that doesn't mean that the play at that particular moment in time wasn't dirty. The reality of the situation is you swung your elbow. And because you swung your elbow and it caused that kind of damage, the reality of the situation is that's what sparked the incident. However, I'm of the mindset that Isaiah Stewart, don't know much about him, respect his talent. He's definitely a man. The brother's 6'8", 250, built like a middle linebacker. Definitely so. Now, when he initially went up to LeBron James, he didn't go up like that. But how he acted thereafter, I think he deserves to be suspended for multiple games. You cannot act like that. He ran over numerous players, numerous coaches. I mean, I'm not talking about them having to restrain him. He bulldozed over several dudes, including coaches, all right, who are obviously older men. He could have done harm to his own teammates. Now, we know he didn't intend to do that. But in light of what, and this has nothing to do with the malice at the palace and all of that other stuff. I'm not trying to go there. But the point is, because of that, look at what that caused. You had, the league more stringent with rules and regulations. You've had people getting suspended just for stepping off the side or stepping off the court, onto the court from the bench and what have you. Rules have been extremely excessive to prevent anything close to that from happening. He looked completely out of control. And then after that, he storms into the locker room and try to storm down. Now, LeBron backpedaled and all of this other stuff. People texting me and tweeting, look at LeBron backing up. I will remind everybody that it wasn't like the brother was coming after me. LeBron's 6'9", 250, 260. It ain't like he's some punk. You understand what I'm saying? Now, he's smart enough not to do it, but more importantly, he knew he was wrong. He knew he was wrong because he swung his elbow. All of that extra stuff Isaiah Stewart did was completely uncalled for. He was out of control, and you can't have that. I'm telling you right now, if you look back at the tape and you see him bulldozing over his own coaches, you don't know how hurt you could have made one of them trying to restrain you. That was completely uncalled for. You can't have that.
Which offense was worse, LeBron James in the elbow or Isaiah Stewart trying to get to LeBron James?
Isaiah Stewart.
You see, I think it was LeBron James. And I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses for Isaiah Stewart at all.
Right.
I've known Isaiah Stewart. I watched him. He's from Rochester, New York. He is a very low-key individual, very nice person. Kid wants to compete more than young man wants to compete more than anybody.
I've never met him. I don't know him, and I'm not saying anything about his character.
We're on the same page about that.
I don't know him.
I don't know what was said in that moment because, what happens is, and I agree with you, Stephen, I think LeBron James should be suspended 2 games for that. First off, when you box out, you always get low. The fact that his elbow was high and he raked down with a closed fist, that's a suspension in my opinion. But what happens is when somebody is remorseful for something like that happening, what typically happens? Molly, you know what happens? Like somebody has an accident. Hey, playmaker, you okay? You all right, man? I didn't mean that, right? LeBron James is standing there looking at him with his arm out. I don't know what was exchanged there.
No, immediately the guy came, Isaiah came to him, and LeBron was like, my bad, I didn't mean it. And then everybody else came forward. And then that's when Isaiah started going off.
So I'm okay with Isaiah being suspended, but he can't be suspended the same amount of games LeBron James was suspended.
Why is that?
Because I think even though he didn't get to him, I think the fact that it caused a scene, it was initiated by LeBron in that moment. Like that moment created that whole scenario for that to occur. Like it was, look, man, I know how to hurt people in the game of basketball. When you box out, playmaker, if you boxing me out, you're allowed to get in this rib cage. If your rib cage is on me, put your arm on my rib cage. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna chop it down. I'm gonna chop down the hell on your rib cage so hard, or your thigh. I'm not coming across the top of my body with my closed fist to your face. That means you want to fight. Those are things those create fights back in the day. So I'm not making excuses for him. I just don't see the punishment level on the same level.
So you guys are on complete opposite ends.
We are.
Where are you
I think it's suspended a game. I don't think
something.
multiple games for Isaiah Stewart.
Let me tell you something. And I've watched and I love LeBron and I watched for a lot of years. And I don't know, and I want to say this first, I don't know how he keeps his cool all the time. Because he does.
Yes.
He does. And people go after him
all the time.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time. Now, with that being said, when we were talking about this and when I saw it, I said, man, do they suspend LeBron? Yes, they suspend LeBron. Okay? You're talking about Isaiah. That's all we're going to hear about Isaiah. This is what it is. And I hearken back, I'll never forget, I hearken back to the time that they decided to give me a little vacation in the NFL. And what that letter read, when I got it from the commissioner, it said, because of who you are and who you play for, and the notoriety and the publicity you get for playing for the Dallas Cowboys, we're going to have to give you an extra game. It said that in the letter. I say this with LeBron because of who he is and what he represents to the NBA.
Face of the
league. You want to send a message about this is not good. This is not right. This is the guy. I will, if I'm going to get suspense about, it's going to be the same amount of games because LeBron's name is tantamount to what him raging on the football field.
Right.
Everybody knows LeBron James.
Time out. Here's why I respectfully disagree with both of y'all. I get where y'all coming from. Totally understand. I will remind you, again, LeBron should be suspended. 1 or 2 games, I'm good with it. It's not a problem. I get where you're coming from. He instigated the incident. But at the moment he instigated it, okay, because he struck the guy with the elbow, he turned to him and was like, I didn't mean to do that. My bad, whatever. The point is, everybody else came in. LeBron stepped back. Why is this incident, if LeBron hits him with the elbow and gets ejected from the game because of it, we say LeBron got ejected. But the highlights can't stop re-airing because of the scene Isaiah Stewart made. Isaiah Stewart bowled over numerous players, numerous coaches, numerous times in an effort supposedly to get at LeBron James. And what I'm saying to you is, when you talk about imagery, I get the point, Michael Irvin, about the name, the cachet, who LeBron James is. But when you talk about violence in the sport itself, who are you looking at today? You're looking at a guy that was completely out of control, that had to have teammates, coaching staff.
Was all bloody.
I understand that. I understand that. But what I'm saying to y'all is this. After the game, for example, if you sit up there and you walk off the court, you sit up there and you talk, and I'm going to meet you in the back or something like that, that's different. He bulldozed over numerous players and coaches.
Because you guys haven't answered this. Do you believe it was accidental by LeBron?
No.
No,
Stephen A?
No, I don't believe
this thing was going to get as much
I don't believe the results of what happened he intended, but did he swing the elbow intentionally?
Yes. Right.
He did.
But this was going to get much TV play, rather he raised around or not, because it's LeBron. No matter what, this was going to get that play.
Stewart's face is all bloody.
And I'm going to tell you something. As a guy who played in the league, you get hit in the face, like everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
And it's a difference.
Right, Mike Tyson. And I'm not condoning the reaction, Stephen A., but you are talking about a young pup in the league compared to somebody
We're not condemning him. We're not saying his career needs to be over. We're not saying he's a bad guy. We're saying that optics. To view this man being completely out of control, I think his suspension warrants being more than LeBron's. I just do.
And you guys disagree. And you guys disagree on that. You think LeBron should be stiffer based on his cachet and who he is and being a vet in the league.
Yes.
I get it. And Stephen A., you think that he essentially created a second incident by coming back a second time.
I'll say it for him too. I mean, the combination of what happened with the Malice in the Palace before.
Right.
That combination of it.
Same franchise.
That gives off the wrong reputation for the league.
And he's out of control. He was out of control. And let's face reality. When you talk about the establishment and their fixation on not compromising relationships with advertisers and sponsors and making sure that you show we've got our product under control. You cannot then sit back and watch that transpire, how out of control Isaiah Stewart was, and do nothing about that. You can't. There's no way you can do that. Period.
And you can suspend him a lot different than you suspend LeBron, and that's a good message. I think that's a bad message to send too.
I didn't say a lot different. But the point is, LeBron made a play in the sport of basketball that was wrong, but he wasn't the guy that was out of control.
I agree. One thing is we don't know what was said. And here's what people will say. Well, look, you're going to treat LeBron James differently because he's your face of your league. So just know, that's an underlying factor that people are wondering.
If he's not suspended.
We'll have more on this later.
He deserves to get suspended.
And we'll update everyone, obviously, when the suspensions are handed down. Detroit, that city doesn't play. Don't look now, but the Chiefs are rolling. Does Stephen A. think the Chiefs are now the team to beat in the AFC? You are not going to want to miss what he says. Plus, Aaron Rodgers wasn't the only bad man on the field in Minnesota yesterday. Find out if this loss is more about the Packers or the mini live from above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Quick takes, vamos, Michael. The Eagles have won 3 of their last 4, led by Jalen Hurts. Will this team make a playoff push, sir?
Absolutely they will. And we can stop with all this NFC lease when we get 2 teams in the playoffs. We got the Giants, Jets, Washington, the Giants again, and then Washington. And in Dallas, they won't even play in that last game. And this dude right here, man, they're going to have a tough decision to make about Jalen Hurts after the season.
Stephen A., the Chargers held off your Steelers. Talk to me.
I'm just disgusted. It's always it's just always
I wish
something,
people could
man.
see your face.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about the Steelers. I was happy they put up 37 points.
They put up
I was disgusted that their defense gave up 41 and couldn't stop Justin Herbert to save their life. Listen, you know how I feel.
Okay. Michael, Cam was special in his return to Carolina, but it wasn't enough falling to Washington. What did Cam show you?
That you can go home again. You can go home again. And I was worried about this, too, because, the first week Cam came in, did some great things on the goal line. But Cam actually threw the ball pretty well yesterday, man. It played pretty well. And I was like, oh, maybe they got something here that they'll have a lot of fun with Cam for this year and make some decisions next year.
Stephen A., your reaction to Terrence Crawford defeating Sean Hughes. We've got a jam-packed hour. First take ahead. The Chiefs handle business at home and have won 4 straight. Are they now the team to beat in the AFC? Plus, we get into the malice in Detroit. The brawl between LeBron James and Isaiah Stewart. There was an elbow to the face, blood, ejections. But how hard should the NBA come down on those involved, including LeBron? Second hour, first take. Let's go. KC making us believers again, knocking off Dallas, getting hot at just the right time. Winners of 4 straight. Major props to this defense. The Cowboys' high-powered offense to just 3 field goals, and KC's D is now top 5 in opponents' QBR, points per game, and rush yards allowed. Dak Prescott throwing 2 picks Sunday, and Mahomes 1 pick. Both quarterbacks had no TDs. We were already believers in Dallas, but now that they've lost 2 of their last 3, are we losing confidence? RC with us. Good to see you, sir. Yeah.
Molly.
Yeah. Southern Steve? You knew it was coming. Here's your hat. Get into character.
I don't need the hat.
Okay.
I don't need the hat. I'm good.
Why you got on Cowboys colors then?
Excuse me?
Why you got on that blue?
It looks great in that
Which
blue,
way does
too.
this
It looks
go?
great in that blue.
I have matters to deal with after the show.
Oh, okay.
Blue is appropriate.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Irv, I'm coming to you.
You worked that well. You're nice. That was nice.
I mean, this does look,
Cowgirl.
my outfit is
It
kind
does.
of
Actually,
cowgirl.
yeah. Little Yellowstone.
Unintentionally.
Cowboy hat with the tablecloth suit. Not bad, Mom.
Bro, why? You look nice,
I thank you.
She looks very lovely. She
I
looks
just want to say
lovely.
one thing. He has clowned my wardrobe like 5 straight days, but guess who's going to call me when it's time for Christmas shopping? Like, hey, can you help me out? I'm trying to get some gifts.
I already did call. She's absolutely true. She's absolutely right,
He's
Molly.
just a hater of the bunch.
I'm not hating you. I gave you love. Come on now.
But
You damn right I'm going to call Molly Wood. I'm going to call Molly Wood. Hell yeah. Absolutely.
In all honesty, because I know this is hard for you.
Yes.
And I know it's hard to take me seriously with this outfit on. But who do you trust to go further? Because the Chiefs' defense looked really darn good. Is it Dallas or is it the Chiefs?
I'm going to answer the question then get into it.
Okay.
I'm still trusting Dallas to go farther. And now let me get into why I say this when you talk about the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs won that game yesterday. Won that game yesterday. Took those first 3 drives, drove right down the field and got some points. But then Dallas defense stiffened. And they didn't get a chance to make many more drives. I look at Dallas's defense and I say, okay, Dallas defense is one thing. Then I look at in the AFC, you got to go, we talk Bill Belichick, you got to go through a Bill Belichick's defense. And that's going to be a tougher, stiffer task for them. So I say Dallas still has the chance. Because even in the NFC, we talked about all the teams that are still, they all got something wrong with all of them. And Dallas showed a little bump yesterday, but so did Green Bay. So is Tampa Bay. So now they got time to get it right. And I say Dallas will still get it right when they get all of those other players back. We got 3 or 4 all-pro players sitting on the sideline. We got talent waiting in the wings. We got help coming.
Help is on the way.
Coming, and we need that help that's coming.
First of all, did you say could? They could go far? Because you didn't say anything definitive. Did you hear anything definitive?
What do you mean definitive?
He said could. No, he said could. He said could. He didn't say they will. He said could.
Should, might,
I mean, is that what it is? Is that what it is?
Dallas will go far.
And Ryan Clark, before you jump on his bandwagon,
Are you sure they're going to be available? I remind you. Look, we're happy that Randy Gregory is out
Don't do that
of
again.
a football injury. Right? We know Leo Collins.
We know it's football.
Leo Collins trying to bribe Testatine. I mean, you just can't make it up, y'all. And they don't let you down.
Why do you think they on Hard Knocks all the time?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just don't make. You can't make it up. They don't let me down. Of course, it's the Chiefs. I ain't even got the Cowboys winning the playoff game. I ain't even got to win a playoff game. I got them going home early.
Come on,
I got them going home early. Let me tell you something right now. First of all, if the playoffs were to begin today, who would be the number 1 seed in the NFC? Wouldn't that be Arizona?
Yep.
All right? So that means they're the only one that get a bye, right? Mm-hmm. That means that the first game that the Dallas Cowboys would play in the playoffs would more than likely be who? Would it be the Rams? Would it be Green Bay? I mean, would it be Tampa Bay? We don't know. It's going to be one of those teams, is what I'm saying.
It's going to be one of the wild card teams because they're going to win the division.
Who?
Right.
The Cowboys.
Okay, they're going to win.
Right.
All right, so who are we talking about then? Because the Rams will be a wild card team. Packers probably not. Okay,
Packers should win the division.
So all right. So we talking the Rams.
I just maybe the Eagles to get in there.
Maybe the Eagles. Okay, I give it to you. They'd have a chance against one of those teams. All right, but I'm thinking they're going to run in to maybe the Rams. That's when I say they ain't winning a playoff game, I'm not talking about them playing some team that's lucky to get up in there. Yeah. I'm talking about them working against one of those teams because they ain't going to get the first round bye. That's what I'm saying. Having said all of that, I'm rolling with the Chiefs with an easier path because I think that the AFC is more haphazard than the NFC. I understand the Packers lost yesterday. I understand Arizona, which you predicted. They ended up, they won yesterday. All right, Minnesota's there. I can't rule out Minnesota. They could be in the mix as well. But I'm just saying, when you look at the AFC, Tennessee, we don't know. We hope.
Who were the Chiefs? Buffalo?
Wait a minute.
Who's already beaten?
No, we hope, but we don't know if Derrick Henry's going to be back.
Tennessee, who's already beaten?
We know how, hell, with Lamar Jackson, hell, is he going to be healthy? I mean, the guy that seems to get sick every 3 weeks for crying out loud. So you got that Buffalo. We already talked about Josh Allen, okay? I got to give it to you about the New England Patriots. I stand down. So all I'm saying is when I look at the AFC, the only team that I look at definitively holding Kansas City back potentially is New England.
Michael, I have something on my mind.
But the top teams have already beat Kansas City.
Go ahead, Monica.
I'm just talking about what they got now.
Because this is really on my mind because I'm concerned about Dallas fans. Didn't you come on this show and say they should buy non-refundable tickets?
Yeah, it's still good. It's still good. This is all part of the process.
Don't do that to
Listen, the road to a Super Bowl is never paved smoothly. It's paved with peaks and valleys.
Super Bowl tickets are very expensive.
right now.
It's very expensive to go to the city of Los Angeles. So I just want to make sure.
Maybe they should just.
I support them spending their money.
Yeah, maybe they should just stay in Arizona and drive up.
I want the Dallas Cowboys fans to buy their tickets right now, non-refundable. I want them to lose their money. I want them to lose their money.
So
go ahead. Give me who you think. Lose the money.
Mike, I want to be on your side like I am.
Don't go come out here with that, Ryan.
Like I am a ton of times on this show. But it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ryan, they already lost all the top teams.
We heard you. Can he speak? We heard you. We heard you. Can he speak?
And now, I think in the end, when the Cowboys are healthy, they are a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's what scared me. As a collective unit, right? As a collective unit under Mike McCarthy, this is the first big-time game the Dallas Cowboys have played. And I love Dak Prescott. I had Dak Prescott in my top 3 for the MVP. Last week, they asked him, was this a measuring stick? And very cool and calm, as Dak has been the whole season, he was like, nah, not for me. For the team, we got to go out and win. And I felt like the team played with that energy, Mike. Right. Playmaker, the way you come on here and you got the energy and you're fired up, that wasn't what this team was. When you look at this game yesterday, Patrick Mahomes throws an interception that's not his fault, right? Travis Kelce misses it. J-Ron Kearse is returning. The first person to come into the screen is Patrick Mahomes, right? The best football player at his position tries to make a play. Pringle sprints down and makes the tackle. Go back to the start of the game. Dak Prescott misses a hitch and go. That should have been a touchdown. Sack fumble on 3rd down. The Kansas City Chiefs get the football. They take the runs. They take the short passes. They run the reverse. They were the team that understood the moment. They were a team that prepared the week like they had something to prove. And so when I think about that, now I think to the playoffs, what Stephen A. is talking about. I think about, okay, if the Dallas Cowboys believe they have already arrived, if Dak Prescott believes this offense has already arrived, what does it look like when you're playing the Rams? What does it look like when you're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who might be hungrier? And so the same way we watched them rebound against Denver, we have to see them do the same thing by Thursday night. But Kansas City showed me championship pedigree.
And that's the thing that Dallas did not see. And that's why I keep saying this is a process. Now that you have to see what it means to other people, since we are going up against other human beings. Yeah. So you got to be able to match that intensity. And they didn't yesterday. I love that you pulled that out, because Dak sends the message to the rest of the team.
Yes.
And I would have loved him to say, every week is a measuring stick.
That's different.
Every time, every play we step on the football field, we must take it as a measuring stick so they can come in there more prepared than they were, because they just were not prepared.
They were flat.
But that's part of the process.
Here's the part that you're missing, Brian Clark. You see what's going on with Michael Irvin is that Michael Irvin is trying to convince the Cowboys to see the light. To see the error of their ways and deficiencies, to get them.
You're trying to preach them.
You think I'm coaching from here?
Yes.
You think I'm coaching from the desk?
Let me finish. Just exactly what you're doing.
They don't always preach from the podium, playmaker.
Here's my point. Here's my point.
Your life
From the
sermon.
pulpit.
Here's my point. He did it week 1.
Okay.
He did it a couple of weeks ago.
With Denver?
He's doing it now. You see, because he knows what you and I know. What Dallas Cowboy fans fear. Every time I say just wait, they won't let you down. Everybody is scared. That's why everybody go like that damn Stephen A. Because they're nervous. Because they know this team finds a way to mess up. Amari Cooper, he started off the show going ballistic about Amari Cooper. He talked about Wilson getting $2 million. He talked about whomever getting $1 million.
Noah Brown getting $1 million.
That's right, $1 million. He said, Amari Cooper's making $21 million.
Right.
And he ain't available for COVID. All I'm trying to say to you is this. Tell me what the Dallas Cowboys don't come up with to get in their own way. Nothing.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Guess what? We got a short week. We're not going to be talking about this much longer because we got to get ready for the Raiders. Thursday, the Cowboys play.
They play the Raiders?
Yeah.
Oh, Raiders. Okay.
We had a shootout in the NFC North, and that bad man, Stephen A., came up short. Find out if Mr. Smith thinks this was concerning for those Packers. Plus, LeBron was sent packing for giving Isaiah Stewart a bloody face. Does he deserve to be suspended by the league? Stephen A. has a lot to say about that. RC sticking around here with us. Plenty more first take.
Hey, golly, RC.
The Packers.
And number one, so you were right. I was wrong. I asked the folks here at ESPN, I told them to order some cookies and milk because clearly you want to be celebrated. So
I do want to be celebrated. But you know what I want more than anything, though? You know what I want more than anything?
What?
I want you to treat me, right? I want you to have the same energy with me when you're apologizing, when you're saying that I was right, that you have when you're right. I want you to scream.
When he said you're wrong. I
want you to scream and be like, you right, RC. I want all that Stephen A. energy, like all the reasons why First Take. Did you say what First Take is your world? All the things that make First Take your world, right? Like all the ways you act when you do a Stephen A's list. I want all that type of energy when you saying I'm right about picking Kirk Cousins against the bad man.
Well, first of all,
don't level it down, Stephen A.
Well, first of all, you gotta pick your spots. I mean, there are times that if you operate at one speed. And you don't fluctuate, then you know what, you end up exhausting yourself. So you gotta be careful.
Okay.
That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, and more important.
So you sandbag. So you don't go all out at all times.
There are times I always give you your props, but there are times that I give you your props in a more vociferous and loquacious fashion than at other times. Number two. Number three, it would help if you didn't have Michael Irvin sitting next to you and Molly would across from you nodding. Yes, you're
Molly's
right.
the host of the show.
I was getting direction from the producer. I was worried about
what Molly does. This is what Molly does. Let me tell you something right now. You didn't ask for those clips. Molly was in the meeting going like this. get the clip of Ryan when he said he was right.
You know why?
We need to play
because
that.
she understands good TV, Stephen A. Because she's about good TV. She's not about making Molly look good.
Right.
She's about making the show look
Molly
good.
Doesn't
she's
have,
not selfish.
Molly doesn't have to make herself look good. It's natural. Number two, when it comes to the show, let's not get this twisted. I do share the wow. I mean, it's not like, it's not like y'all are not here on the show.
This is about him.
I couldn't do it without y'all. I couldn't do it without y'all. Is that good? Is that good? I couldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it without you with a damn clip on your, with a damn paper clip on your house. I couldn't do it without you, Ryan. I couldn't do it without you. Let's go.
That was a very backhanded compliment.
That's what he does. It's all good.
It's a paper clip.
It was good. They're calling that out.
Let me ask you this, since you were the one that picked, do you trust Kirk Cousins to go on a run?
Hell no.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. Actually, I wanted to gloat a lot earlier on Twitter yesterday, but I was scared as hell. And you look at what the Darnell Savage, what should have been interception was a forced
twice.
Razul Douglas had an opportunity on the sideline. He breaks on the football, it goes through his hands. Yep. Adam Thielen is able to catch it. And that's the thing that worries me. For 3.5 quarters, Kirk Cousins is one of the better quarterbacks in this league. He's a top half quarterback. But then he makes those mistakes late in games. And the Minnesota Vikings have been leading in every game this season. They're the only team that can say that, and you lose games late because you don't execute. And so when I think about what this team is with Adam Thielen, with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, this should be a team with a much better record. The reason they don't have it, I believe, is the inability to execute late in games, and Kirk Cousins is a large part of that.
21 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. You talk about that bad man, Kirk Cousins. He's tied with that bad man. 7 games with multiple TD passes and 0 interceptions. Tied with that bad man. So for Minnesota, and getting Kirk Cousins to play this way where he's protecting the ball, that's huge. That puts Minnesota back in the race for an opportunity to try to do something. I think that's big, and I think Minnesota's definitely ready.
I'm not knocking anything about the Minnesota Vikings because I know from a skilled perspective they can make some noise.
Gosh, yes.
They can make some noise. My issue is this game told me more about the Packers. How come you couldn't get a stop? We know what's in the NFC. We know who you're going to have to go up against. We know how formidable Dallas and LA and Arizona and Tampa Bay are. You know what you're going to have to do. Think about this as we sit here and reflect on the Green Bay Packers. All of us believe, regardless of what he was incapable of doing the first 3 downs, you, Matt LaFleur, you don't take the damn ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands on a 4th down with Tom Brady on the other sideline in the NFC Championship game. And all you're going to need is a 1st down or 2 to seal the deal. You let Aaron Rodgers, even from the 8-yard line, take his chances and make something happen. My point is, we all look at the Green Bay Packers and believe from an offensive standpoint, with the weapons that Aaron Rodgers has available to him, they'll have something to say and they can get it done. The question about the team is the defense. And when you have a situation, albeit on the road, you're going up against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings, and you can't stop them when it can't. You can't get a stop. I'm sorry. I'm going to hold that against you. And that's what I'm thinking about when I think about the Green Bay Packers. Yes, their defenses look pretty good over the last several weeks. But yesterday, when you needed to get a stop, you couldn't do it.
I just the reason I picked this team, and me and Playmaker were talking about it in the break, like Justin Jefferson is a true number 1 wide receiver. And Adam Thielen is thought of highly as well in much of the same thing. He's just a different dude. And Dalvin Cook is a top-tier running back. And so when you think about the Green Bay Packers, they just haven't faced this. The Green Bay Packers, like, you go Arizona, right? Honestly, if A.J. Green doesn't block, Arizona wins that game. Right? Arizona has an opportunity. It's just period. They win that game. Patrick Mahomes was awful against the Green Bay Packers. And we saw what Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks looked like yesterday against the Arizona Cardinals and Colt McCoy. And so I just think that this was a very tough matchup.
Right.
This doesn't mean if you get Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander back down the road that you can't get stops when you need it. And think about it. If Darnell Savage holds the football when he hits the ground, the Green Bay Packers win because they were not stopping Aaron Rodgers. And so this doesn't make me think that the Packers can't compete or the Packers won't contend. But what it does make you think that if they execute late, the Minnesota Vikings are a team you don't want to see down the road.
And it does feel like
the only reason I
injuries
say
are
you trust
piling up
Kirk
for Green
Cousins
Bay
a little bit
also.
more here, and this is what we were also talking about, was that combination of Jefferson and Thielen is difficult, more difficult than the combination of Diggs and Thielen.
So you think they're better? You think this?
It's better because Jefferson plays inside and out. And what they were doing yesterday, they were switching up those option routes.
Yeah.
You know, and Thielen's great at those option routes, but so is Jefferson. And it was impossible for Green Bay to stop. It was impossible.
Well, see, that's a problem for me because if I'm looking at Green Bay as a title contender, I don't want to hear something is impossible for them to stop.
Right, so you're looking at Arizona with D-Hop and AJ.
Right. Then they got to come back and match.
Gronk coming back with Evans, Godwin, all of that. I'm looking at that. I don't want to hear it's impossible to stop. You better figure it out.
That's why then they would have to match it on their offense, and Aaron Jones would give them a chance to at least help them match it on their offense.
Packers host the Rams on Sunday. We'll learn a lot. Got to keep it rolling here, guys. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have won 4 straight, but does Stephen A. think, especially AD? RC, I want to start with you here, if I can get on this chair. All right, so earlier when we had this conversation, Stephen A. said he felt like Stewart deserved the stiffer punishment because he re-instigated it, like running back out again after the incident was over. Yeah. And then Jay Will was sitting in your chair in the playmaker, and they said, no, it's LeBron, because that was intentional, and he's the veteran, and he's the face of the league. So where are you on this?
I think LeBron looks worse in this situation. And don't get me wrong, you know, I get it. Isaiah Stewart is chasing after him, and he's running after people. He ain't hurting nobody, right? Like, he didn't put his hands on LeBron. I think a lot of it is you're upset because you see the blood dripping, and you know LeBron James did that on purpose. I don't believe the intent was on purpose, but he purposely swung his arm and elbow at Isaiah Stewart. And so
but I don't understand that.
I don't believe the result, right? I don't believe he meant to
hit him, but not make him all blood. I just want to be clear on what you're saying.
And when you make that decision, this is possible. Now, if Isaiah Stewart, because he's right next to LeBron, one, basketball players, they ain't really trying to fight anyone. He ain't trying to fight. He's acting. Right? He's upset, and he wants to run after people. He wants to do all that. He got close to DeAndre Jordan, and he stopped, and he let people grab him. Isaiah Stewart was just mad. But what LeBron James did, he did on purpose. What LeBron James did, he has to understand. He understands that he can't do because he's never done it. And what's going to happen is we're going to look at LeBron James's his behavior as a man, his behavior as a player, as being just a stellar pillar of what the NBA should be. And you're going to look at it as whole, like, okay, we might necessarily have to punish him for this one act, but this one act is all that counts right now. And if you're the NBA, you have to send a message to the rest of the world that we aren't going to treat LeBron James any different in this case because he's LeBron James.
A couple of things. Number one, Byron Spruill, I believe he's the president of league operations for the NBA. Kiki Vandeweghe used to handle the disciplinary matters. He departed in July. There's no replacement for him. There needs to be a replacement for him because we need basketball people making these kind of decisions. I think that's important, that people that can bring context to what transpired. Having said all of that, I don't disagree with the words you said about LeBron James. I don't believe the ramifications that came from it, like, for example, the blood and all that. I don't think he intended anything like that.
He did
but clearly he threw the elbow intentionally. I do understand people that sit up there and say, you know what if you got an elbow to your face? I get all of that, right? But here's the reality of the situation. Optics matter.
Okay.
I hit you with an elbow, okay? Regardless of what we want to think, those kind of things do happen from time to time in the sport of basketball. What Isaiah Stewart did does not. That doesn't happen often. When you bulldoze over numerous teammates and coaches, I mean, you saw bodies actually flying trying to help. Now, you could say he wasn't trying to do anything, and that's fine. But I'm talking about what he actually did. What he actually did was bulldoze over assistant coaches, bulldoze over numerous players, okay? They had to get security. They had to get law enforcement officials involved. They had to do all of this other stuff because you were completely out of control. What I'm saying is based off of things that have happened in the NBA in the past. And we're not trying to compare this to the Malice and the Palace, but based off of those things optically, that is what the league is primarily concerned over. Now, they have to penalize LeBron because he was the instigator. He definitely should be suspended. But what I'm saying is, what was worse optically was the display that Isaiah Stewart put on. And when you have people, because we got people, you know, we all got
so you think this? So that optically is worse than Jokic, Morris. That optically is worse than Gobert, and I forget who it was getting tangled up early on this season. That optic to me of Isaiah Stewart, the worst optic is him with blood streaming down his face as compared to chasing after people.
And I'm telling you. The league.
For the league,
I believe the league would respectfully disagree with you because the league is looking at the league is looking at advertisers, they're looking at sponsors, and more importantly, they're looking at their ability. They know that those folks are looking at their ability to control a situation.
So everybody stay in their seats and all of that. That's the worst.
Sponsors, you're talking about LeBron James, the face of the league, and a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah. So what you're saying, I really want to ask this question. So you're saying, in that situation, Isaiah Stewart has to protect the league by getting hit by LeBron, by bleeding, just grabbing a towel and walking off.
I'm saying to you that in that particular situation, if Isaiah Stewart had immediately reacted and attacked LeBron James, that's an entirely different look than him bulldozing over numerous teammates and coaches and having to be restrained by 15 different people. See, if he reacted, if LeBron James had elbowed him and he just reacted and went right at LeBron, that's different. That's you and LeBron. And LeBron instigated it. What I'm saying is when all of those other people get involved and it takes that amount of stuff to restrain you, that is what the league is going to look at.
Maybe it took a second to see all the blood in his face and all that, to see how banged up he was. Maybe it took a second.
I'm pretty sure, too, though. I'm pretty sure as being that young man, you realize who you're walking up to. You know that's LeBron.
But also, too, though, you got to walk back in the locker room. And you saw when AD, what he said, we're going to protect ours. There's some egos and some codes that are involved in all of this, too. Because we will protect ours.
And you're supposed to.
Right. And yes, you do. Yes, you do. But in this situation, that what we're talking about is exciting something, making it bigger than even this right here. That's the league's #1 worry right there. That's why they're making an announcement. Everybody stay in your seats. As he's going crazy and running wild. That's why you are saying what you are saying, because when he's running wild like that, that excites everybody else. And now we can have another situation that nobody wants to happen.
And to bring your point, and to get back to your point, RC, if that had happened to you going straight for LeBron.
100%.
Right. What you're not doing is you pause, waiting, and then all of a sudden you shoving bodies all over the place, including older men in their 50s and Lord knows how long, knocking everybody over, having to be restrained by 15 people. What I'm saying to people out there is this: I'm not knocking Isaiah Stewart. I don't know the kid, good kid, bright future, wish him nothing but the best. This shouldn't, he shouldn't be castigated for this. But in that moment, when it takes all of that, that is a worse look for the league than LeBron James simply hitting you with that elbow.
But it's easier for us to talk about it here than us getting hit in the mouth. That's true. Because you hit me in the mouth in front of,
but you would have went at him.
Right.
You wouldn't have went over. Neither one of y'all would have knocked over 15 people to get to him. So that's the point.
Once it's broken up and we're done, be done.
That's right.
I can see that.
Coming up, Tom Brady and the Bucs look to right the ship tonight. Action from Sunday, we start in Nashville, where the Texans' win marked the latest into the season that the team with the outright worst record in a conference has beaten the outright best team since the merger in 1970. Meanwhile, Jonathan Taylor ran all over the Bills' defense. My goodness, becoming the third youngest player with a 5 TD game in NFL history. Buffalo's loss, coupled with New England's win on Thursday night, vaults New England into first place in the AFC East. And the Chiefs picked up their 4th straight win in a low-scoring affair against the Cowboys, keeping the league's top-scoring offense out of the end zone. After a slow start to the season, KC heads into their bye week, 1 game out of the top spot in the conference. The Hall of Famer playmaker Michael Irvin, I will start with you. Are the Chiefs, Michael, now the team to beat in the AFC?
the Chiefs have all the parts. We know that physically. We know they have the talent. We know the execution. They've had some issues with the execution because they didn't want to play small ball, and now they are playing small ball, right? So for me, the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC. Now, we've talked about these teams in the AFC. Each team has an issue in the AFC. The Chiefs are the team that has already been there. Sooner, when we get through it, we're going to talk about this. The experience in the playoffs. The experience in the playoffs when those pressure moments come to it. We talked about Dallas folded in that pressure moment, and the Kansas City Chiefs did not yesterday, and they will not as they get ready to go towards the playoffs. So right now, for me, absolutely, that's the team in the AFC to beat. Right now, the Chiefs have reclaimed that crown.
First of all, I don't understand why Travis Kelce and all of those guys are jumping around with Eric Bieniemy. Travis Kelce, my brother from another mother, as far as I'm concerned, the best tight end in football. Tyreek Hill is a star. Right. Eric Bieniemy should have gotten a head coaching job a long time ago. I'm sad for him that he hasn't. But what the hell are you jumping around for? You scored 19 points. I mean, your offense wasn't anything to write home about. I'm sorry, I didn't see anything.
But they had a spurt.
I'm just saying, a little spurt there, but I didn't see anything to write home about. You know, how a couple of trick plays, Tyreek Hill got loose early. We get all of that. You jumped out to a 16-3 lead. I understand. But what I'm saying is that we've seen this Chiefs offense be significantly more potent. That was not the case yesterday, is number one. Number two, I've completely shifted to the New England Patriots because of Bill Belichick and because of that defense. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. When we talk about winning come playoff time, as great as Michael Irvin was playing with Troy Aikman and the crew, how'd y'all win games? Defense and running that damn football with Emmitt Smith. You run the football. He set up a lot of things. The New England Patriots can run with the football, and the New England Patriots have a defense that is opportunistic, experienced, rife with veterans, incredibly familiar with the things that Bill Belichick wants done and how he wants it done. And I will remind everybody that they weren't there last year. 8 to 9 different guys didn't show up because of COVID.
Yeah.
So the New England Patriots still ended up winning 7 games with half their defense going, more than half of their defense going last year. So what are you going to do now? Now here you are with a rookie quarterback in first place in the division. And when you think about Patrick Mahomes, even though he's had some success against the New England Patriots, who arguably has given him the most headaches? Bill Belichick. When we saw the Dallas Cowboys this year, and we saw that New England wasn't necessarily really, really ready. Mac Jones was still young. Yeah. You know, some of the receivers, the Aguilars of the world and others and Bournes of the world and others didn't really get their bearings under them in New England. They still gave the Cowboys a run for their money. We exited from that game marveling at the greatness of Bill Belichick and the things that he's able to figure out when you give him time. All I'm saying is I'm looking at New England, and it's a byproduct of the inconsistency of the rest of the AFC.
Okay, time out. Hold on. Michael Irvin. You picked the Kansas City Chiefs, so I'm just wondering, when you were hanging out with Bill Belichick the other day on Thursday Night Football, did you tell him? Did you tell Bill? There you are with your boy Bill. Were you like, Bill, here now, it's the Chiefs, Bill. You're going on a run, that's cute, but it's the Chiefs.
And I told Bill, I said, listen, the only reason I'm going to have to pick the Chiefs over you guys because I just haven't seen Mac in an uncomfortable situation. Your defense has been so great. Now, I got to give it to Patrick Mahomes because he's been in uncomfortable situations and has come back before. We watched that in one playoff run when they came back to double digits down. In all 3 games, they came back and went to the Super Bowl. I need to see Mac Jones do some of that. You're talking about offensively. You talk about Patrick Mahomes. They scored 40 points a week before.
Michael Irvin.
They only scored.
That's not answering the question.
But when I said a spurt, let me tell you that spurt on that offense. They scored 40 points, then they come out against Dallas. The first 3 drives, they go and score. So offensively, they're figuring like they're getting their groove back. And then that defense shows up for the Chiefs. So the Chiefs have an opportunity. Why are you dancing?
Because that's what you did when I showed up in Dallas, when you showed up on the show and you were dancing, right? And I'm saying you're dancing now because Molly asked you. Right. She said, Did you tell Bill Belichick
I told
that?
Bill.
I saw you doing a lot of talking.
I
saw him walking and listening to you. I didn't see you saying it. You didn't tell him that.
I said, man, your defense is great. I need to see Mac in a difficult situation. I said, you the best. You got all these guys playing.
He was in a difficult situation. Tom Brady came to town. It was like a Super Bowl. The most watched regular season game of all time.
Outside of him.
Did you tell Bill Belichick?
Football field, I need to see him come back.
Did you tell when Bill Belichick? We got to go. You started off the show talking about how Bill Belichick felt snubbed by folks. Listen, he felt snubbed by people. Did you tell him, yo, I got you? I'm going to cheat. Did you tell him that? You didn't tell him that. You didn't tell him that. You kept that to yourself.
I said, Bill, I'm going to build this Chiefs thing up. And then when you beat the Chiefs, there will be no doubt. They'll give you all your credit. That's how I told
you. Didn't tell him that. You didn't tell him that. Lies.
Let's say Michael. Let's go to break.
Bill, you the greatest, buddy.
Another loss for the Seahawks.
You're so full of it. You're so full of it.
A certain